cleaning a collection of model aeroplane engines in the kitchen. I bought a collection of model aeroplane engines from John Mills when I visited him at his Doubleboost workshop. It's a large collection, once owned by his late father. Quite a few of these engines in the collection are well before my time, but I do remember reading about them as a child. This one is a marine engine and it's an ED346, quite a desirable engine in its time. And although the box isn't in good condition, the contents are. Here's a box that contains a PAW engine. This is an NU19 glow plug engine, and it's the first engine that I ever had, not this particular one. It's just the first type of glow plug engine that I ever owned. And as I'm looking at it now, it reminds me of having it screwed to a piece of wood in the vise in the cellar and running it until I could stand the smell of the exhaust fumes no longer. When I look at what I did as a child, I often wonder how I managed to reach adulthood. I finally grew up but didn't really get any more sensible from that point. What I'm going to do in this video is have a quick look at everything in the collection, or most of it. Things like this interesting old petrol engine. This is an old frog engine, and what I'm going to do is clean every one of these engines in my ultrasonic cleaner. I'm taking all of the engines out of the boxes and putting them on the table. Not all of the engines are boxed anyway. This I think is sufficient engines for the first basket full to be put into the ultrasonic cleaner. There are quite a few ED engines and quite a few DC engines, and also an OS44 stroke. This is a more modern one. Here's the ultrasonic cleaner on the sink, and on top of it is a bottle of Carbusonic carburetor cleaner. Some of these ultrasonic solvents are designed to remove rust, but I don't want to remove rust on these engines. For my ultrasonic cleaner, I do have another bottle of liquid that's designed specifically to remove rust, but I don't want to use it for this job. I'm filling the cleaner using very hot water from the tap. Then I add the Carbusonic liquid, then I add a final pan of water. As soon as I finish filling the tank, I set the temperature. The left number is what I would like it to be, the right number is the temperature of the water. It's time now to remove all these engines from the kitchen table and put them in the basket, ready to put into the ultrasonic cleaner. I need to make sure that I don't have too many of them in the basket. Every one of them needs to be submerged in the liquid. There are quite a few engines in this collection that I've never owned, but I do notice a Cox 010. I've already got one of those. I don't know what type of engine this is. I know it's a diesel, but I don't know what make it is. I carried on loading the basket with AM engines, with DC engines, with ED engines. In fact, this was most of the contents of the first box, with one or two additions from box number 2. And here they all are, sat in the basket on the sink, ready to be placed in the ultrasonic cleaner. The basket was surprisingly heavy, and I was quite pleased to see that I hadn't put too many engines in the basket. Every one of them is submerged in the liquid. By introducing this large mass of cold metal, the temperature started to drop. In a previous video where I featured this ultrasonic cleaner, an expert viewer wrote in to tell me that it shouldn't make a noise like this, but he was wrong. It does make a noise like this. This is a 10cc overhead valve OS FS60. This has been in the ultrasonic cleaner previously. Just look how clean it is. While the cleaner's doing its stuff, I'm going to have a look at some of the other things in the collection. This is a replica of a Appleton twin, made in India by a company called Aurora. I'm never going to run it, it's just a replica, and it looks okay. It's not quite as well engineered as the British equivalent. It looks very much like a Appleton twin I once nearly owned when I was a kid. This next engine is very good indeed. This is called a DC Tornado. Before seeing this one, I'd never seen one before. When I was about 12 years old, playing with control line models, I really would have liked one of these, but I fear that it would have been far too expensive. And for its age, it's not in that bad condition, and this is a really nice looking thing. I spent a bit of time wandering around Google and found some information about this model. With the collection came a box full of propellers, and to my amazement, in the bottom of the box I found this. The Beginner's Guide to Electric Flight from a long time ago. Years ago, I too fitted a hand-carved propeller to an electric motor exactly the same as this one. And guess what? It didn't work, it wasn't powerful enough. It's a rather nice spinner, better than the ones that use 2 screws to hold the cone in place. And here's a real blast from the past, a control line handle just like the one I used to have. This controlled the elevator on a control line model, and the spike on the bottom allowed it to be stuck in the ground when you weren't using it. I think this is a Davies-Charlton engine test stand. Here I'm sorting out some of the engines I don't particularly want, although this old Merco 61 with its twin plugs was a real innovation in its time. And this exhaust pipe is really well made. At first I thought that this exhaust may have fitted the DC twin, but no, it's not from that. There are 1 or 2 nice engines on the table if you look carefully. This engine is called a Nordeck, and I think these are quite collectible. Well, according to my friend Bernard Langworth, who's been World Control Line Champion a few times in his life. It's not over yet. There's another box full of fuel tanks and exhaust pipes. Here's a tuned pipe. There's a non-tuned pipe. This is really a bits and pieces box. A lot of the engines in here are either incomplete or damaged. Look at this control line tank. Does this bring back memories or what? There are some specially shaped original ED marine type fuel tanks, obviously designed to fit in the shape of the hull. I don't think I'll ever be using these, or the marine engines for that matter. They're not even allowed on most boating lakes. In this box of bits though, I did find 2 complete Merco silencer units. I used to like these because when you fitted the aeroplane engine into your model, the small Merco exhaust pipe wasn't very obtrusive. I set the ultrasonic timer to run for half an hour, and here it has 11 minutes and 13 seconds, or 11 minutes and 10 seconds, and finally the number hit 0. Note that the temperature is now increasing. Here's a clip showing the job when I first started, and here's a clip showing what it looks like now. The water is very dirty indeed. I removed the basket and sat it in the sink to drain. Look how clean the engines are now. If there's anyone out there whose fingers are hovering over the keyboard, ready to tell me how I've done it entirely wrong and I shouldn't do this with the engines, etc., etc., here's a clip showing me doing exactly the same with the rest of the engines. It's very important to make sure that there isn't any water inside the engines. In most cases, I set the position of the crankshaft so the piston was closing the exhaust port, and where possible the crankshaft was in a position so that the rotary valve was closed. By shaking the engines in every direction and then filling them with WD-40, there does not seem to be a rust problem. Don't forget, as these engines come out of the water, they are very hot indeed, so any water present soon evaporates. This is the bits and pieces box, bits and pieces that I don't want, damaged engines, spares and other things. Here are the silencers. I didn't put these in the ultrasonic bath either. And this small box is now full of engines that are fine for spares. Once I'd completely coated the inside of the engines with WD-40, I put them all in a box, including this very nice OSFS 60 from a previous cleaning session. I replaced all of the engines that were in boxes back in their respective boxes, and that for the moment is the job done. In this collection of engines that I bought from John Mills were 4 CO2 motors. There are 2 with nice wooden propellers in one box, and then the others have 1 in each box. I don't want any of these. I'm not interested in CO2 models, so I think I'll probably sell them. All that remains to be said is stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video interesting. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.